Okay guys, welcome back to another blockchain news video. Today we have in the market Bitcoin 9,257, currently Ethereum 191, XRP is on a run of about 11%, currently at 27 cents, almost 28 cents, Bitcoin Cash 385, Bitcoin SV at 269 on a pullback of about negative 2.64%. The rest of the market is looking pretty green today here on Coin360. It's looking good. There is some fear that we might retrace to the 8,800 levels, I believe, for Bitcoin. But for right now, we're holding up pretty well here at 9,274, according to Coin360. We got plenty of news today to cover, guys. We have Craig Wright in the news. We had an application with Iowa taking place for the caucus that kind of went faulty. We're going to be discussing that here. We got Winklevoss twins in the news. We have Binance in the news, Visa, BitPay. So just about some of the big guys here in the news today. So we're going to cover some good articles. So stepping right into the news, we have first up conversations over Jae Kwon, the Cosmos CEO. So he is stepping down from Cosmos because he's going to be focusing a little bit more on another project called Virgo. But he has been stating some weird things in his Twitter. So one statement was, if something should happen to me, be critical and share your opinions respectfully. But everything I'm doing is in fact making me a target. That was back on the 21st of January. He is not only the CEO of Tendermint, but he is also the sole board member. That means all the authority in a company that has backing from Bain Capital Ventures, Paradigm, and One Confirmation rests in Kwon. Cosmos is one of the leading projects aimed at enabling different blockchains and their native assets to communicate with each other. So they do have another rival called Polkadot, and in that we have an Ethereum co-founder, Gavin Woods, Parity Technologies, and the Web3 Foundation working with Polkadot. But currently they're in a experimental launch within the Kusama network, and Cosmos is actually at a software launch for last March. Now, the big thing here to keep in mind is that people are worrying if Kwon is still leading the actual project of Cosmos, and if he's just being distracted by other interests. We do see that his Jay and company have decided that moving forward, the company will adopt a more decentralized corporate process. So that is being developed along with the Virgo project. So there's a lot of interest on his part with Virgo. There's more information regarding Virgo, but it really just has some very lofty goals, right? They're doing not just about what everybody else is doing, because he has delivered with Cosmos. It's, has been adopted on big exchanges, and the whole concept of staking is being used on different places. But, they have a manifesto for Virgo that is addressing everything from social services to the financial system, privacy, open source software, taxation, and the environment. So a lot of big things that are being discussed in there with their GitHub. And, you just don't know if people can deliver to that degree. So people within the company have spoken of difficulties with bringing that up to him in regards to how his methods on being on, Twitter and social media as a whole is deterring some people from probably joining their project. So it's something to keep in mind. Again, we know that Cosmos is being used in a few different places and it's got some good reputation, but we got to keep an eye out here for Jae Kwon and what he's really doing, because if he's the sole board member of their company and he is the CEO, he has a lot of power, and we want to see how he's going to transition either out of that so he can actually focus on Virgo, which is something he had mentioned, or if he's going to remain in his spot. So back in September, the company had a staff retreat that did not go too well. The source added, people expressed frustration from both with how the company was being run and how they were being treated. Over the last 6 months, Jay has obsessively focused on Virgo while neglecting and under-resourcing IBC. So keep that in mind, guys. He had a tweet on the 19th where he got pretty vocal in regards to people giving him a hard time for his new reputation and stuff, and how he's acting and how he doesn't care. He's going to be the same way. But then again, it's hard to run a business when your CEO is kind of reckless with his words. So hopefully things work out. Jay has been subject to internal communication channels, but he always claims that it might be religious discrimination, loyalty tests, and goes off on abusive rants. So it's kind of weird, but hey, hopefully that gets worked out here for Cosmos. Next up, we have Iowa Caucus app fiasco shows need for open source transparency. So it's stating here that the Iowa caucuses were thrown into disarray because of a app that wasn't really tested and was used to gather the results and report them to the Democratic Party officials. So there's security experts that go back and stated that the incident served to highlight the risks of relying on digital systems and the centralization information, a lack of transparency regarding these systems. Now, there's 2 points to this article. So actually, before we dive into that, you guys, if you don't know what the Iowa caucuses are, basically they have been historic for just being I guess kind of a preview of what you can expect from the presidential election during that year. So these have just been used by the community in Iowa. They hold these at different locations like churches, schools, and other sections where people just go from different communities and just kind of get their votes in play. But the big thing here that happened was that they wanted to use an application here, and due to coding issues, the reporting system just pretty much became unreliable and the data was not accurate. So right now we did see that some security experts were reporting that it is okay to have a few errors per 1,000 lines of code, but here errors can obviously dictate to skewed numbers. And when something as important as an election is at stake, it is frankly malpractice to allow proprietary software. So that's one of the bigger things that Joshua Simmons, a board member of the open source initiative, stated, is that you want to have open source software here in these kinds of applications because you want to have proper testing. You want security experts to get in place and be able to cover what's going on with the code so that these big issues can be avoided. A lack of transparency results not just in technical errors that subvert trust in the app, but also opens the door for misinformation and conspiracy theories, right? So that's what's going to happen next. And that's what kind of plays out in the political field, is that, it's that whole idea of what's going on with the Republicans and Democrats, their ongoing fight for dominance. And, that's probably what it'll turn out. But some of us that have a little bit more brain, I guess, can comprehend that, technology does create fault, right? It's not just, it may not just always be conspiracy. It may just be improper use of technology. So the idea of blockchain and voting did come up, and how it could be great to bring transparency into the community as a whole for everybody to understand who is really winning these, in this case, the Iowa caucus or actual presidential elections one day could be hosted on a blockchain. But of course, cybersecurity experts that have been in the field that don't comprehend blockchain do have thoughts against that. So just keep this in mind. If you see it in the news, just be aware of what took place. Pullback ahead, Bitcoin price indicators suggest waning bull momentum. So just a couple of things to keep in mind. Bitcoin produced a doji candle on Monday, indicating bull fatigue and shifting risk in favor of a stronger price pullback. On the downside, major support is seen at 88.67, which is about the 200-day average. So people are expecting, or some people are thinking, that because of this candle that took place on Monday, we may see a pullback all the way back to 8,867, and then we might move higher to a 9,600. But the overall trend does remain bullish as long as prices are holding above 8,200. So I'm still pretty bullish on Bitcoin, guys. I think we're going to continue to move up, even if we do see some pullback, even if we go back to 8,800 levels or a little bit lower. I do see a bullish trend overall, not only for the long term, but honestly, the midterm, even the short term. So that's just my thought process. I think there's too much positive pressure, not only coming from the news, But also, guys, keep in mind we have the Bitcoin halving. Some of the news that we're going to be going over today, just like yesterday and some of the other days that we've covered news, this news it is extremely bullish for cryptocurrency as a whole, Bitcoin, and blockchain. You know, we started off the year very strong with the World Economic Forum that took place. The conversation was literally all central coins that were being pushed out by banks and their goals, blockchain and cryptos, finance, digital finance, guys. This is it. So we are positioned correctly for a bull run, in my honest opinion. That's what I believe strongly. Aside from charts and stuff, that's what I feel in the crypto community. That's what I feel with the overall news, some of the words that are being used, just how common, how many people out there really have heard the word Bitcoin, and how as we go up, remember, regular media is going to be covering our price movement. So if we break past 20K, right, we got to get past 10K, but that's going to make the news. As soon as we break past 10,000, that's going to break the news. So keep that in mind, even though we do have this article here, you know, suggesting a pullback in the short term. Long term, especially during this year, we are looking bullish. Next up, we have Bitcoin SV sees miners split as blockchain shifts to Genesis upgrade. So the network upgrade did take place here at 2:00 UTC on Tuesday. So the Genesis rules were put in place, the full restoration of Satoshi's Bitcoin protocol, according to Jimmy Nguyen. So essentially what they're doing here is they had a hard fork, and they did away with the hard cap that allows businesses to build large-scale applications on BSV. They changed a Bitcoin scripting. They did a change in the Bitcoin scripting language. They add will enable the protocol to perform functions like smart contracts and potentially allow the project to compete with blockchain projects such as Ethereum. So here we see BSV just trying to keep themselves not only relevant, but trying to push forward and see if they can gain a little bit more momentum here with this news. I'm surprised it didn't really have a push up on the price. So it seems that maybe it hasn't made rounds yet. Maybe it might just be too fresh, or people just are not really paying attention to it. But we do have some news on Craig Wright that we will cover. But he does, they are stating that Bitcoin can finally be Bitcoin again, and the miners can continue to write the chronicle of everything. So again, we have the two communities divided, right? We have Bitcoin SV stating that this is what Satoshi himself wanted. So that is where Bitcoin SV is at, and that's how they differ from Bitcoin itself. We had Calvin Ayre, big BSV advocate, you know, reach out to or tweet out at Jack Dorsey saying he's backing the wrong side. So this is how intense Bitcoin SV followers can definitely be. And, you know, I respect your views if you are a Bitcoin SV, you know, maximalist. I understand some of your reasons and stuff, but we will just see which coin ends up being the true Bitcoin. Next up, we have Craig Wright abusing privilege to block 11,000 documents, according to claimant lawyers. Basically, they're saying that he's abusing his client attorney privilege to withhold documents and obfuscate trial proceedings. Right now, we've seen Craig Wright in the news for quite a bit. He's being sued for $10 billion in Bitcoin by Ira Lehman, or the legal team that's representing her. Right now, he's holding back 11,000 company documents that are inadmissible at court because they come under attorney-client privilege. So he's kind of been playing different cards that we've seen, where he tries to keep information from being pushed out into the public in regards to do we finally know that, you know, Craig Wright is Satoshi, or is he not Satoshi? But as time goes on, you know, even the public system, our court system, they are very slow, but they get the job done at some point. So after all this time, we're starting to see new things pop up, new pressure on Craig Wright. And he is now stating that the bonded courier that is holding his private keys to the 1.1 million Bitcoin in the Tulip Trust is also an attorney whose communications are privileged. So This has been challenged. We're going to see what's going to happen. But back in August, a judge had found Craig Wright in bad faith and perjured himself and had admitted false evidence during the motion. So the court then ordered Wright to hand over half of his alleged Bitcoin holdings as to pay for the attorney's fees and any other related expenses. So he had initially agreed to a settlement, but then he pulled out of the non-binding agreement in November. So I firmly believe that when something like this happens, it pushes times back. You gotta pretty much go back in and try to get another get another case going against him, or you gotta reinstate what was previously going on. So time is just gonna keep going, and we're gonna see what's gonna end up happening here with Craig Wright. Binance will soon reward market makers for providing futures liquidity. So Binance Futures Market Maker Program, it's going to be adding new incentives for people that are adding liquidity to the futures platform. So among some of the ones that were mentioned here, the Binance Futures volume witnessed an 85% month-to-month growth increase in January, 56 billion traded across its contract markets. So they want to keep pushing that market volume up. So keep in mind, guys, if you are market maker, then you're going to be in a good place here for Bitcoin futures. So moving on to the next one, we have Southern Indian state to launch dedicated blockchain incubator. So we've seen that India has been big on blockchain. They have not yet been supportive of cryptos themselves, but they currently develop 12 use cases where blockchain tech can be used to solve some of the issues faced by their citizens. In the coming days, there are coming up multiple initiatives, such as setting up incubators. So this was stated by Rama Devi, who is a senior official in the ITNC department of the state government. So pretty good. At least we're seeing something come out of blockchain tech and support from their government themselves. Just like everybody else, everybody's feeling pressure from China. And some people are scared of Facebook Libra, don't really understand the latter, but I can see how China is definitely motivating countries at this point. Next up, we have Winklevoss Twins Crypto Exchange adds TradingView integration. So now anybody that's using TradingView for charting and screening tools can definitely can tap into the Gemini exchange to buy cryptocurrency in real time. So that's going to be pretty good for everybody that likes to be first in TradingView. And they stated, we believe this kind of assurance, in addition to other safeguards we have implemented, such as digital asset insurance, helps protect our customers' data and cryptocurrency. Next up, we have MintBot allows Telegram users to tip people in chat rooms with any SLP token. So SLP tokens are hosted on the Bitcoin Cash blockchain. So just keep that in mind, guys. This is pretty much where it's going to be running. So now you can tip any SLP token, which are tokens hosted on Bitcoin Cash, through Telegram, which is pretty cool. Honestly, I can't lie. It's a pretty cool feature. It is being hosted by this MintBot, and I believe it had been in place for quite some time. Yeah, over the last 12 months. So actually, it's stating here that SLP tokens became popular over the last 10 months or 12 months and have been supported by other third-party software. But in this case, this bot seems to be working well. You can join their Telegram group. They got about 60 members, so it's pretty early on. And they're looking to even expand to Discord if it holds well with Telegram. So here we can see some of the commands that you need to put in place to whitelist tokens, deposit, see your balance, tip. You put the token name, amounts, withdraw, and you can donate to Bitcoin Cash, or if you want to donate Bitcoin Cash or other tokens, you can, to support these developers. So it'll be interesting to see how we can see more developments on this bot. The bot can be easily added to the Telegram group. You can start tipping SLP tokens to your liking, whichever ones you choose. You can direct message the bot for help. You can use whitelist commands and other good stuff with Telegram. You can do it directly to users, so that's what makes it interesting. Next up, we have Binance Launchpad reveals Wazir X sale results. So what was interesting about the sale was that there were 10,000 winning tickets held by a total of 9,033 winners, even though more than 20,000 users participated to try and win the lottery. So this wasn't like people just walked in and purchased the token itself, hosted on Binance Launchpad. There was a lottery that took place on top of you wanting to purchase these tokens. So through that, we're seeing that over more than 136,000 tickets were claimed, about 44% of all participants, with a chance of winning tickets at 7.31% per participant. So that's pretty low, but then again, that's how lotteries kind of work. All 100 million WRX tokens were sold on the Launchpad. The balances of the winner's BNB will be deducted within 24 hours. And yeah, it seems like this new lottery format is kind of what is working on Binance now. So keep an eye on it. Again, it's just a way to make these sales look better, right? If they sell out completely, then it looks better for their company's demand. It builds hype and all that good stuff. So just keep that in mind. Even if these numbers look really good, not everybody got an actual chance to purchase. It was a lottery pretty much that took place. Next up, we have Consensus acquires SEC registered broker dealer to tokenize bonds. So blockchain firm founded by Ethereum co-founder Joseph Lubin acquired Heritage Financial Systems. So Consensus acquired Heritage Financial Systems. The acquisition will bolster Consensus in-house broker dealer capability. So basically the tokenization of bonds, it's going to be taking place through this. And that's really the big news here. So just what we've seen from other security token offerings, now we're going to see these tokenized bonds. I believe we're seeing real estate being tokenized. We're seeing a lot of things being tokenized from the regular financial world. So it is just a race, guys, just like we've seen previously. Now it's just build up more and more, especially in this year 2020. Visa to change POS fees to merchants to adjust new business categories. So Visa right now is changing their ways that they're going to be charging. They're going to be charging traditional Visa card holders 9 more cents per $100 transactions, and premium Visa card owners will pay 10 cents more compared to current rates. So all Visa is doing here is that they saw that e-commerce platforms are being used more, obviously, which we've seen in the past 20 years. So they're going to be charging more for that, and they're going to be lowering transaction fees on real estate, healthcare, and education, because it's not that they're just being nice, it's just that less people are using those. So that's the big takeaway from this one. Visa is adjusting, even though they haven't really changed in the past 10 years. But another thing to keep in mind that's even bigger news is actually on the bottom of this article is in mid-January, the company bought financial technology firm Plaid for $5.3 billion. Their products hosts thousands of apps. They serve cryptocurrency wallet Abra, and crypto exchange Coinbase uses the firm's services to obtain customers' banking info. That same month, Visa participated in an $80 million funding round for cross-border payments platform, Currency Cloud. So keep in mind how they're trying to stay relevant, not only to compete with Ripple, who has gained more support, but they're also not trying to be left behind too much in the cryptocurrency space, because we now see how Binance began to allow users to buy crypto directly through Visa, credit, and debit cards. And we do have some information on Mastercard, which we will be touching up later in this video. Altcoin Hot Rollers, 50% of crypto traders hold mainly altcoins over Bitcoin. So even though there's a lot of hype, obviously, for Bitcoin taken off in price, 39% of people that took a vote on a 8,000 people poll about 39% of them said that they hold between 76% and 100% of their crypto investments in altcoins. So literally 40% of people out of 8,000 on this poll stated that from 76% to 100 are holding all their investments of cryptos in altcoins. So there's still a lot of people that do remember how the altcoin market moved up in 2017, and it does seem like a lot of these voters are hoping for that. We saw how altcoins just really just brought in the big gains, but of course we do know that we're far away from the 2017 prices. So what may be the bigger the best way to earn the bigger returns here in the crypto space? Would it be Bitcoin, right? Jumping into Bitcoin now at this 9,000 level, or purchasing coins like Ethereum, who are at a 85% drop from their all-time high, right? Coins that may present such a high upside when compared to their all-time high and the current developments that have happened. So like XRP, today's price around almost 28%, as we saw on Coin360, which is a little bit over 90% plunge. So you're getting XRP at a huge discount just for it going back to its all-time high. So things to keep in mind, right? Not financial advice, but things to do keep in mind that the rest of the world, or some of these players here in the poll, are stating that most of their holdings are in altcoins. BitPay restores service to all Bitcoin wallets to drive mainstream adoption. So it seemed like BitPay had some older wallets that they had stopped supporting, and I believe it was due to the ones that were just older wallets. So those were the ones that would cause congestion and probably slow things down back before they had initialized their protocol, their payment protocol for Bitcoin. So now they're going to allow merchants to support all these Bitcoin wallets, and they're expecting that to expand their potential growth and sales and acquire new customers. So yeah, that's going to increase the opportunities for merchants to sell more. It's going to allow consumers that didn't have chances to purchase in these locations to do so, and of course to drive more adoption for Bitcoin as a whole. Next up, we do have Mastercard in the news, and the CEO stated why they left the Libra association for Facebook. So there was some interesting statements here, guys. This is why I wanted to touch up on this real quick. We noticed that he stated the need for a proprietary digital wallet made it clear that the project may not have positioned itself as a financial inclusion tool as it was initially stated to be. So this is rather interesting because, you'd think that when you make an association where you're bringing in so many big companies, you're not really going to be switching things up. So the CEO also thought that Facebook Libra didn't really understand what their business model was with the stable coin. And I honestly believe so. I personally believe that Libra is just an excuse to onboard people into cryptocurrency. And so now that this article has taken place, and we hear from the CEO of Mastercard, we're seeing how Visa, even though they had also pulled out, they're still trying to get involved in the tech. I think that these people just realized that Facebook, they're going to get people to get onboarded into Libra, but, their main goal might not even necessarily be a big business model for that company, outside of becoming a dominant coin. Maybe through other means they have ways to make more money, but I think it's just a way to onboard people into crypto, guys. So that's what this article kind of tells me. Mastercard later states that they do remain engaged on the blockchain tech, and honestly, they wouldn't be engaged in it if they didn't see how the space is growing. They have over 100 patents filed globally, and they're ranked in the top 3 among top blockchain investors. So Visa and Mastercard still going at it. They are feeling the pressure here in the financial space. Bakkt's parent company ICE approaches eBay with $30 billion takeover offer, guys. So this is absolutely insane. They are the owners of the New York Stock Exchange. for all people that have been in the trading space for stocks and all that good stuff. And then the Bitcoin futures trading platform backed. So ICE is the parent company of both, and they're looking to purchase eBay. So even though this might seem like a good business move and wouldn't raise too many questions other than, them trying to make more income, it does show that there may be a time of uncertainty when it comes to the relevance of these big companies in finance. So this may be a time where today's current stock exchanges and major institutional investors are looking to diversify their holdings outside of traditional forms of trade. So pretty interesting. I could see that point of view. And let's see if eBay is looking to sell. They haven't made an announcement yet or a comment really on this, and neither had ICE, but the post was on the Wall Street Journal, so it might make it pretty credible. Next up, we have some news on XRP. We have 900 million XRP that were in escrow exited out of the wallet, and it seems like Ripple may be looking to sell the XRP on exchanges or to institutional investors, which they had done in the recent Q2 of 2019. They pretty much do these big transfers at the beginning of the year from what it looks like in 2019. And we are now hoping that they are just going to sell to institutional holders. That way we don't have to feel that selling pressure on the exchanges and the current XRP price. Because as we noticed, guys, we have XRP here on a run up of about over 10.6%. So it's important for that selling pressure to not happen on the exchanges. So it's stating that in the first quarter of 2019, Ripple did sell about 169 million worth of XRP on crypto exchanges and to some institutions over the counter. In the second quarter, that number grew to 251 million. So right now, the company has not stated what it's planning to do to further reduce or increase their sales in the first quarter of 2020, but people are hoping for them to sell to institutional investors or to not sell as much. So 900 million XRP currently out from escrow. Keep that in mind, guys. And then next up, the big news on why I believe XRP is currently on a run up. It's because the volume for XRP flipped Bitcoin on a crypto exchange named Bitso, which is hosted in Mexico. So it seems like XRP is now the top traded currency paired with the peso on Mexico's largest exchange, Bitso. So that volume, also the volume that they're stating that they assist money transfer giant MoneyGram in moving 10% of its daily transaction volume between Mexico and the US. So that's pretty big news. This probably initiated the whole run. And I'm guessing the rest of the XRP holders just kind of probably pushed the run up. So either way, that is a green day for XRP holders. Congratulations to those that made some gains today. And let's see if it holds, right? Like we discussed in the previous news, I don't want to see Ripple just sell out their XRP and then that brings the price back down. I think it's time for XRP to kind of see some higher levels, especially with all the support from the community. We have Spring that's been doing so many initiatives to make XRP more relevant outside of Ripple, right? So we have blockchain projects coming in. They're doing their own smart contracts thing happening, and other companies are using XRP for transactions. So I think XRP as a whole does have a green future. So let's see how this all plays out. Hopefully we can hold at this level. But yeah, guys, if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and click the like button. You can definitely sub to the channel so that you can get blockchain news and crypto news daily. I'm pushing these out Monday through Friday and also I believe Sunday, and get you guys started with your crypto news. So yeah, go ahead and leave a comment down below so we can keep the communication going. I'll see you guys on the next one.